Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Flight Simulator X, FSX as it's called, as you all know. And I know we have a new influx of new pilots, so I was just going to go through kind of what I remember of getting the airplane ready, such as this, for a basic circuit training, touch and goes, flying in the pattern kind of thing. We're in Kansas City, so elevation's like 1,011 or something like that, so we'll be flying a pattern altitude of 2,000 feet. That you would change your pattern altitude based on how high off the ground you are in the natural elevation of the airport. So we'll be doing about 2,000 feet today, and we're going to do the entire walk around with the A2A Cessna 172. And last time we flew November 4635 Kilo, we went from Spirit of St. Louis Airport to COU, but we're in Kansas City. We'll just act like, you know, eventually this airplane made its way over to Kansas City, which it did, and here it is sitting on the ramp. So let's get it all fired up, and we'll do the walk around. Okay, we are in here. First thing we can do is remove this control lock. Well, let's open up our little sheet here. We already know about the notes. Priming for cold engine, run fuel pump. You know, we know that. Leaning on the ground, avoid fouling plugs. Check oil temp before run up. Idle under 1,000 RPM. Stall speeds of 51. Max flap extension speeds are there. We can always reference those if we need to. So let's go to the next page, which is upon entering the cabin. We'll check aero, which is airplane weight and balanced. There it all is. There's all the information down there. And then our POH would be behind there. Parking brake is, make sure it's set. Yeah, it is indeed set. We always double check it. And it is. Control wheel lock, we remove that. That's what I did when we first got in here. Ignition and avionics are off, even though the avionics are on. It's just doing some stupid crap. I don't know why it's doing that. The airplane's completely cold and dark, but that stack is supposed to be dead. And I kind of remember it having a problem where it would do that. I don't know. Maybe something's weird. But fuel selector, we'll put that on both. Right there. If we had it on the left or we had it on right, we would burn from the right end wing or from the left wing. And you'd have a weight imbalance, which we have a little bit of one. I think it's like, what? A couple gallons off. It'll tell us right there. Right wing is 11. Left one should be like 12 or something. Yeah, 12. It's a gallon difference. So we'll just keep it on both. We want to make sure that fuel shutoff valve is on. Flaps, we'll extend those babies. Actually, you know what? We'll turn the master switch on. We didn't do that first. So when we were doing the avionics, we forgot to turn that on. Master on. Now we'll bring those beautiful flaps down, which they're starting to come down now off the wings. There they are. Beautiful. Okay, cool. And let's static pressure out source valve is off. Master switch off. Well, actually, before we do that, what we'll do is for the walk around sake, we will be turning on a beacon. We'll turn on the nav, strobe, and pitot heat. And then we can shut everything off. Look, it's a little gloomy today here in Kansas City. So I believe the ceilings are going to be around 2,600 feet range or so. So, well, about 600 feet below where we're going to be today. So not a big deal at all. But let's open up this baby. Number 6. Nope, 7. No, it's definitely an 8. When in doubt, it's number 8. So here we go. We already did the cabin information. We'll start out here. So pitot tube cover is removed. Pilot hop, we already checked that. The POH is in there. Weight and balance is good. Parking brake is set. Control wheel lock, we removed it. Ignition switch is off. Check there. Avionic master switch off. Battery is on. Pitot heat, we already did that. So this is pretty much everything I did there. So we would do this before we do our walk around. So if we come out here outside, let's turn our master on. Why are those? That's really weird that those were shut off. Back outside, we kind of do a walk around here a little bit. You can see we have strobe lights and nav lights and the beacon lights working. That's all we really care about. Landing light. There it is right there. Beautiful. Okay, let's do the pitot tube first. Don't pay attention to the camera views. Are going to be screwed up because of the easy dock. We want to make sure that the pitot tube is indeed red. There it is. It's warm to the touch. Let's move back here to the fuselage. We'll hit and close that door. Beautiful. Back here to the tail. We're going to make sure that the tie down is removed. Why did it get removed? It shouldn't have, but okay, it's removed. Then we have all this information here on the elevators. We look and make sure that the cables aren't frayed and the cotter pins are there, which everything looks A-okay there. We'll come back here and we'll look at the same information where the cotter pins are. Make sure all that looks good, and it does. Okay, cool. We'll wiggle this, make sure it has movement, which it does. And we'll walk around to this side. Wow, the views are really absolutely screwed today. And we will check this. Make sure that the flaps look like they're all in good condition, which they are. And there's the cotter pin. And you make sure they wiggle, which they do. So they're all good to go there. Let's go to the right wing. And we'll check over here on the aileron. And we want to make sure that there's no like cuts or anything wrong here. And that wire is there on the edges, which it all looks really good there. Cool. I'll move up to the front. The right wing will disconnect. It's being stupid, so whatever. Okay. That looks good. Clear. Underneath here, the right wing, we want to make sure the tread, tire, depth, and wear on the tires are fine, which is a simulator, so yeah, it's fine. Okay, up here at the front, we want to do our first GATS jar, which is in these little holes. You would put this little GATS jar in there and check to make sure there's no water in the fuel line. So that looks good. We can hit the drain more button if you want to check it again, but it's fine. We'll come up here on the right wing and check the oil dipstick. And, oh, sorry, not the oil dipstick. This is the fuel in this tank right here. And we're showing exactly as it said inside, 11 gallons. And let's go here to the front. We'll check the oil dipstick, which is right down here below. And we can see we've almost got 8 quarts. We're really good there. That's not bad at all. Now under here, we'll check the fuel in the nose. Again, I don't see any water. Looks good. We'll drain it again. You always do a couple of those. Those look good there. Let's come to the front of the airplane. My God, that is some screwed up stuff. No damage or anything, and it looks free. Okay, and then now we want to make sure there's nothing, no chicken nest or something in there, or bird's nest, you know. And you want to clear the air inlets. So that's exactly what we just did. We just double checked it. There's no debris. So let's go around this way to the front. The static port would be on this side. Let me show it to you. There it is right here on the little bump right there. Looks clear. No blockage. Then we move up to here, which is checking the left wing fuel, which is right there, 12 gallons, as I said, inside. So that's good. We'll come up here to the front, and we'll check the left wing gas. That looks good. No water in it. Do it a couple times. Looks great. All right, back onto this wing. Check for proper inflation and condition of the tire, which it looks good. Back over here. Wow, that's really screwed up. We would have, I don't know why those tie downs didn't work, but whatever. The stall horn is what we want to make sure is okay in this sense. So let's pop around here. It is right up here on the top, and it's nothing in the way, so it's clear. And then you would make sure this little inlet right here is not clogged either. So there you have it. Not too bad. Stall warning is good. Let's get around to the other side of the wing, which is all screwed up as well. Wingtip and lights are working, obviously. Check for proper movement. We'll check this, make sure that this aileron isn't broken, which it looks good there, and good there, and good there. Excellent. And we can be pretty much done. We'll wiggle the flaps, make sure they work. And they do. Cotter pin, good. Good, good, good. Okay. I think we're pretty much done with the pre-flight inspection. Let's head back to the airplane. Alrighty, let's get this baby started up. So let's go ahead and close our door. Here it comes to us. Very nice. And we can open the window since it's a little warm out today. We will go ahead and plug our headset in. And let's open up our checklist. Engine starting, make sure that the throttle is cracked, which is right there. 2, mixture is on idle, that's checked. Master switch, we can turn that baby on. Or it's already on. We would have turned that off when we came back. It's all right. 4, beacon is obviously on. And we're on a cold engine, so this is not a warm engine. As you can see, the temp and all everything's so low. So we can go ahead and turn on the fuel pump and prime this engine. Turn the fuel pump on. and we push in. You hear it rev up like that. We'll watch the fuel flow gauge there. Here's 3 gallons per hour. You kind of wait for it to spike to 5, but I think it's just going to stick there at 3, which is fine. Bring it back out and fuel pump off. All right, propeller area clear prop. We would yell out the window. Ignition, we'll advance that over to start. And let's double check and make sure our parking brake is set. This thing is just having a mind of its own today. I don't know what it is. All right, let's go ahead and fire this baby up. There's the catch, and we push our mixture in like that. We'll check our oil pressure as it starts to rise. 46 PSI, 49 going up. Navigation lights are on currently. We can turn our strobe light off. We don't need that on anymore. And we don't need a landing light on, so we'll keep that up. We can turn the pitot off. It's a warm day here in Kansas City, so no need for that. Let's open our checklist back up. Avionics, we can turn those on now, which were those white switches we just saw down here. There we go. We get the beep. Yes, we did. Beautiful. Okay. And continuing down, we'll go to bring the flaps up. There they go. You can see them coming up right there. All right, excellent. Back to our checklist. We'll go to page 4 for the before takeoff. So we're pretty much done here. We can turn our GPS on. It looks pretty good there. We can zoom in 1 if we want. And now we need to contact, or not contact ground yet, but we'll go to the ATIS and listen to what's going on here.
Kansas City, airport information, Alpha 2044 Zulu, wind 108 at 10, visibility greater than 20 miles, sky condition, sailing 2,500, overcast, temperature 15, dew point 9er, altimeter 2998, visual, runway 9er in use, landing and departing runway 9er. TFR aircraft, see direction of flight, all aircraft lead back, hold short instruction.
Okay.
Advise controller on initial contact, you have Alpha.
All right, so we have Alpha, and we know the winds are going to be out of the east, so we're probably going to be taking runway 9er, I would imagine, with a left traffic pattern here at Kansas City. He said 2,500 was the ceiling, so that's 500 feet above us, what we're going to be doing today at 2,000 feet. So we're all good to go there. Let's call up ground, and we'll tell them that we're going to be staying in the pattern.
International ground, Cessna November 4635 kilo with Alpha, request taxi for takeoff, departing straight out. Cessna November 4635 kilo, taxi to and hold short of runway 9er, using taxiway Bravo 2, Bravo Charlie 9er. Contact tower on 125.75 when ready. Taxi, hold short runway 9er, using taxiway Bravo 2, Bravo Charlie 9er, Cessna 35.
Bravo 2, Bravo Charlie 9er. Okay, Bravo 2 out of here to Bravo. We'll take Bravo down, make a left on Charlie, and then a right on Charlie 9. We'll hold short, and that's what we'll do. Our run up right there on Charlie 9. What I did on there, I pulled the mixture back to 47%, 50 right there. Just so we aren't fouling those plugs. It's really easy to do that in this airplane. But once they give us clearance to taxi, we don't want to dilly-dally all day. So we'll add our power in and get rolling. A little more power than that. We'll check our brakes. I have brakes. We're good to go there. And we'll just taxi down to runway 9er. Okay, we made it to Charlie. So we'll make a left on Charlie right here. And then this first little turn here to the right is Charlie 9. So we will hold short. And the winds are right out of the east. So we're just going to point the airplane in the direction of east. And we can do our run up. So make sure that we don't block anybody. So we'll come over here to this area right here. And we'll spin around to the east. There we go. Just like that. Beautiful. Now we're facing the east. We'll go back to idle RPM. Around 1,000 or so. And when we do this, we'll open up our checklist, before takeoff checklist. Seat and belts and doors are checked and secure. We have a window open. It's all right. Flight controls are free and correct. And we would box those controls by looking at them. You know, here on the left, there's the down aileron. You go back here, you pull up, you go over to the right. And here you would have the aileron up. You can't see it over there. We push down and go forward. That's boxing the controls and making sure that the rudder works fine. Flight instruments, we want to check and set those. So let's go ahead and set our parking brake first thing first. And if you'll notice here, we're looking at east, right? And here you can see, well, actually, it doesn't look too bad from this spot right here, but we could adjust it to look it's about 5 degrees off, it looks like. So let's go ahead and adjust that guy. No. Yeah, it's pretty much on spot. I wouldn't even mess with it very much. Fuel quantity is going to be checked again, which we already know the gallons 11 on the right, 12 on the left. Mixture, we're going to go full rich. Fuel selector valve is going to be rechecked on both, which it is. And throttle up to 1800 RPM for the run up. There's 1900 on that. That's 1800 right there. And we want to make sure that the mags are working, so we'll check the right one first and watch for a 50 drop in it. There's the 50 drop on the RPM, back to both. There, back to 1900. Watch for the 50 on the left. Oop. There's a drop on the left, and back to both. So we know that the magnetos are working correctly. Engine vacuum ammeter are all good. There's amps right there. Vacs in the green. Engine temperature is looking good. Oil pressure is looking good in the green. Fuel flow is beautiful. All right, cool. So all that stuff is working. We'll check the annunciator panel and make sure there's nothing there. Pitch trim they want us to check. So let's do that. Pull it back to takeoff. That'll probably do good there. And let's see you now. Okay. They're yelling at me about the pitch trim, but I'll tell you what, I really don't like the pitch trim to be on that takeoff. You'll see why. It's not legit at all in the simulator. Kind of just shoots right off the ground. Okay, so we've done enough there. We'll pull the engine back to 1000 RPM. There we go. There's 1000. Radios and lights, we can set those now. So we'll go to a landing and a strobe. So landing lights, strobe light. Beautiful. All right, we're pretty much ready to go here. Elevator trim we just set. Wing flaps are up. Let's contact the tower. Let them know we're ready to go. Nope. Southwest just landed. That's who we heard land.
International Tower, Cessna, November 4,
These are brakes.
report departing straight out at runway 9er. Cessna, November 4, 635, you are cleared for takeoff, runway 9er, straight out departure approved.
All right, we are clear for takeoff. Let's go ahead and close our little window. And we'll taxi out onto the runway. And we'll hear the people shout. Okay, let's go this way. And everything seems like it's pretty much set. We'll check the flat line one more time. If there's no airplanes coming in. I don't see any out there, so that's always a good sign. Air traffic control tells you that you're clear, but you always want to double check that, especially in a real world setting you would. Line up on runway 9er, and we're pretty much good to go. So everything's centered here, and we'll go full power. Takeoff power set. We'll rotate at 55 knots, and we'll climb out at the best rate at 80 knots. And we'll make our crosswind at 1,600 feet. How about that? There's V1. We'll barely pull back. Actually came off very nicely and easy there. So now we just kind of get a feel for the airplane, see how it's flying through the air. Here's 70 knots. Bring that nose down. I'm using pitch trim to get it where I want it. And we want to trim for that 80 knots. So the wind's blowing us a little to the right, not too much. We'll just keep an eye on that, especially when we're on final approach, so we know. Well, as we cross 1,600 feet, we'll make our left for the crosswind. Runway 9er. Bring that nose down. I know we have 80 knots there, but we don't need to be climbing out at 1,000 feet per minute. There we go. There's 80 and 500, looking good. And as we cross 1,600 right there, we can start our, we would normally start our crosswind out of there, but we're going to clear the runway first before we do that. We're just going to climb up to 2,000 feet. It's going to be that simple. And we'll pull back our power to 2,000 RPM. So we'll cruise the pattern at about 2,000 RPM, and at 2,000 feet is what we want to shoot for. So we're off the edge of the runway, and we can start our turn. Coordinate it with a little bit of left rudder. Keep an eye on that guy. We want to still be climbing out at 80, so push that nose forward. We want to be climbing. We want to be descending back down now. Okay, there we go. Getting the hang of her again. I haven't been up in the air, even in the simulator, in a very long time. So there's our crosswind. And all you would do on the crosswind is kind of push the nose down here a little bit. And we would look off to the left just to, you know, so we know what we're doing. And we can start our turn to the left. Try to get back down to 2,000. Pulled back our power. It creeped up on us a little bit there. Watch the ball. Coordinate it the best that we can. A little bit of turbulence today. Not too bad. It is overcast above us. 2,500, so 500 above. Back down to 2,000 feet now. Coming out, rolling on our western heading of runway 27, which was the reciprocal of 090. There we go. Beautiful. Bring that nose down a little bit more. And now what we do is whenever we can slow the airplane down to 1,900 RPM. And when we hit the threshold of the runway there, we can go, let's go 1,900, or sorry, 1,900, 1,500 RPM. So 1,500, and we want to bring that nose back a little bit here so we can get in there. Here we go. We'll go 10-degree flap and just wash off the left wing. And as we get 45 degrees from the runway, we will begin our base. So we want to push the nose down a little bit here so we get that 80 knots. And we want to maintain that 80 knots, especially through our base leg. So we start a base now, or 45 from the runway threshold. There it is, a little bit left rudder. Make sure that we have that coordinated. Ooh, a little bit too much there. And we'll push that nose forward, maintain about 80 knots here. It's so weird. In a real airplane, you feel the slip a lot more than you do in a simulator. So it's just weird slipping or turning with a turn, using the turn coordinator in a simulator. Keep pulling power back. And we can go 20 degrees flaps. Bring our power back, bring the nose down. Shoot for that 80 knots. We don't want to get in 70 because that means that we're not descending where we need to be. So now we are pretty much on a perfect base. I'd like a little more speed than that, but we're fine. Bring it down like this. We'll do a couple touch and goes and then we'll call it quits today. There we go. Looking good. And we kind of visually fly here. And we can start our final approach turn. There we go. And we'll do final on final. We'll go the next setting of flaps. And we can shoot for that 70 knots on final approach. Some flight schools want 65 or whatever. My flight school was always 70. So it's just kind of imprinted in my brain to use that at 1,500 RPM. And you kind of just, you know, obviously pitch for airspeed and power for altitude. So we don't have a VASI or anything or any visual indicators. So we're just kind of, we're going off of visual here. But looking good. And we're on final approach. Looking very nice. 250 feet off the ground. I mean 100. Well, we're getting close to 100. There we go. Let the airplane fly. Very nice. A little more power than that. We're good. Pitch for that airspeed. 65 is still okay. As we come over the piano keys, we'll go idle power, and we do a round out to flare here. And we'll let it round out and start our flare. Nope, nice and easy. Too much. I did too much too early. There we go. A little bit more. A little bit more. And bring that nose up. A little bit left rudder. Whoop. Too much. There we go. And we're down. Bring up those flaps. And left traffic on the go. Add that power back in. And you kind of do that all at the same time as looking down and making sure that your takeoff trim is correct, which it looks pretty good. Man, that thing was slidey. Bring that nose back. There we go. Off the ground again. And we are climbing out at about 500 feet per minute at 80 knots. So that wasn't too bad. Shaking the rust off, that's for sure. It's crazy because, you know, going back when I used to do this every single day of my life, back in like 05 to 07 for those years, it's just weird. Oh, man, we did not get 80 knots. We went much faster than that. It's just weird to get in a simulator and do it. And I haven't done this in a simulator in a very long time, so we are definitely rusty. Man, this thing's got a little bit of power, don't it? Let's just go ahead and pull that power back to about 2,200 RPM on our climb out. It was a rocket sled today. Rocket sled on rails. So 1,600 feet. We'll do this one a little shorter. So once we hit that 1,600 right there, we'll start our left base, or I'm sorry, left crosswind for runway 9. Runway 9er. Got a 9 on there? Okay, back around to north. Still climbing up. We want to get to 2,000 feet. Using my trim here and there. A little more left rudder. There we go. And we'll roll out. Roll out like 40s. All right, that looks beautiful. And we'll go left again. We're going up for that 2,000 feet. 2,000 feet. Let the nose come down a little bit. Beautiful. She's fast because she's light. That's the main reason behind it. Start rolling off to the west here. And I'm not really screwing around with the rudder too much for coordinated, just because I'm by myself and in a real airplane, I would kind of do that anyway, but we're dealing with a lot of turbulence that's throwing us left and right, so it's all right. Not the end of the world if we don't get that perfect. Alrighty. 2,000 looking good. Bring down that altitude a little bit more there. I want to pull my power back to 1,500 RPM. Yeah, 2,000 feet. A bit more. There's 1,500 RPM. And we're at 2,000 feet. Bring that nose up a little bit more. And there is the threshold there. So we can go make sure we're in the white arc before we put in those flaps, obviously. Bring that nose up. Kill some airspeed off. There we go. 10-degree flap. There's 80 knots. So we're going to continue on that 80 knots. So push the nose up a little bit here. And chase back down that 80 at 1,500 RPM. We know our visual now. I know where this highway is right here and these fields from last time, so I can pretty much go off of that, which as we just get close to this little road right here is where we'll start our base leg, which is about now. So we start our base leg, still maintaining that 80 knots during it. We'll adjust power as necessary, but you pitch for the airspeed. You don't use power for that. You want to use power for your altitude. So we want 80 knots. We bring that nose up. Bring that nose up. There we go. Bring that nose up. Go 20-degree flap. Shoot for that 80. So now we're on a nice base leg to the runway, which is off there on our left. We're still a little low. We're at 1,600. So we can just continue on this base leg. Man, we lost a lot of speed there, didn't we? We're going to add it back in to about 1,900 RPM will work for us. Bring that nose forward a little bit. Get back down. I don't know why we're going so damn slow there. All right, we're fine. A little more power. That nose forward. I'll use a little bit of forward trim. And now we can make our turn final on final. I want to shoot for that 70 knots on final, but man, this thing is just going slow today. Alrighty. Next setting the flap. There we go. And this time, it's all crucial whenever you're in that round out to flare to not flare too early. Otherwise, you will balloon up like we did on the first one. And you can get a bouncy landing from that or a long landing that you don't really want. So let's pitch for 70 knots here. And we'll use altitude as we need. We don't have a VASI, so again, we're just visually doing this. Bring that nose forward. Shoot for that 70 knots. There we go. Little right rudder. Ooh, not much. Watching our turn coordinator a little bit. Coordinating the flight as we come in. I don't obsess about it though. Turn coordinator. Okay. Closer. Let's pitch for that. Let's pull the altitude, but we pitch for the airspeed. So pull back our power and pitch for the 70. And use power for the altitude. Pitch that nose down. A little more power here. Give us that little oomph. Ooh, hello. All right, very nice. Coming over the piano keys. Now we want to try to get a nice round out the flare here. So we'll go off the power at the piano keys and let the airplane settle in like that. And then, whoop, God, this thing is just really pitchy on my, it's not the airplane's fault. It's my controller, my yoke. Bring that nose up, 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 up. Little left rudder and let her settle. There we go. That's what we wanted. And the nose came down. Bring up our flaps. And let's make a left turn right here off the runway. So we aren't holding anybody up. We are a little tiny Cessna, so they're like, you know what? Get the hell off the runway, sir. Okay, landing. We already did that. Well, I didn't have an after landing. Okay, well, I'll just go off of memory. Once we clear the runway, we want to clear the runway first. We got to cross this line to do. All right, we're clear of the runway. Flaps are already up from before, and on the replay, of course, the flaps did not show, but the flaps were indeed used. You wouldn't have a landing like I did if that weren't the case. Don't mind that black 757 over there. We're gonna head back to where we were. So as we taxi down this way, we can go ahead and shut off the strobe lights and the landing light. Don't need that. We can leave the navs on for now. And pretty much clean up the airplane. I don't know why they haven't handed us off the ground yet. That's kind of weird. They will here in a minute. But once we do, we'll head back to the ramp. Getting closer to our ramp up there on the right. And I figured out what was going on with ATC. I forgot to tell them that it was a full stop on that one. Not a big deal, you know, it's a simulator, so no one's gonna be upset or get fired or get in trouble. And if that were the case in real life, you would have turned off a controller, would have been like, well, what are you doing? I'd be like, oh yeah, we were full stop. Be like, okay, taxi to the ramp, monitor ground. And they would have been like, you know, well, you know, it would have been bad, still been bad, but oh well. This is our ramp here. Oh my, the temperature has climbed here in my room, at least. We're starting to get these 70-degree days, and I love it. But, you know, when it comes to recording, it sucks. I'm going to make one of those makeshift air conditioners that are out of a cooler within a fan. That's what I'm going to make this summer for recording. Okay, and we'll turn in here to the ramp. To the ramp. Over there by the bus is where we started at. But yeah, I plan on having more FSX content and X-Plane coming your way. I'm probably going to end up moving over to the FSX Steam Edition, see if I can get a little more performance out of it. And that way I can do multiplayer. And that'd be fun to fly with you guys and stuff. So I'm hoping to get around to that. But until then, this is, you know, sufficing. But I gotta say, with the new graphics card, X-Plane runs way better. So we'll probably end up doing a flight in the 737-200. We haven't really gotten around to doing an actual flight with that yet. So I think that's what we're gonna do next time. All right, we'll spin this baby around here. Let's go push this sucker in rich so we get a little more power. There we go. Very nicely done. And we can pull it back there. And what we want to do is turn off. We want to kill the engine. The mixture. Let her come down in life. Turn our GPS off. There we go. And turn off the ignition. We didn't get the... I always forget the damn avionics are underneath here. So... there we go. Avionics off. And we can turn the master battery off. There we go. But those still stay on for whatever reason. I don't know. Okay, and there you have it. So just really quick, wanted to say leave a like if you guys want to see more Fly With Me series. Obviously, I know a lot of you do. Leave a comment below. You know, try to save the backseat gaming, backseat flying. You know, I'm sure things were done wrong and all that stuff. And I just don't really understand a lot of the reason why people are so damn nasty when it comes to comments on people flying, but they are. It's a simulator. This is not a real airplane. Yeah, you can use the same practices and stuff, but you know what? The only people that I give a shit about who told me, you know, when I was getting my pilot's license, if I did my job correctly or I did it right, was the FAA. I really don't care what people have to say about it, so they can hold their tongue if they would like. But if I want the Flight Simulator series to keep continuing, I'm going to do it on my own terms, you know? I'm going to have fun with it. I love flying. I love aviation. And I don't want it to be ruined by a bunch of assholes in the comments, essentially. So just wanted to clear that up really fast before we say goodbye. And hope you guys enjoyed the flight. Take care.